Another very important concept in O programming is that of inheritance. So what we are going to do is write a program calculating the perimeter and the area of triangles. The triangles can be of three types: equilateral, isosceles, and irregular. Okay. Now let's see how we do this using objects. Okay, as usual, iostream.h, then hash include neo.h, and now we create a class called triangle. Okay, and here as usual private. What are the parameters, what are the data members that will be there for a triangle? You will have a side length A, one of the side lengths, another side length, and another side length. So three side lengths you will have. So A, B, and C. You will also have the perimeter and area, and public functions would be first let's take care of the constructor. Okay, triangle. Okay, and here we initialize, this is the default one, so we'll initialize A, B and C equal to 0, perimeter equal to 0, perimeter equal to 0, area is equal to 0. This should also be float. Okay. Now what we do is we take care of all the set operations, setters. So setter functions. Okay. Now what are the setter functions? So set side 1, and it will take an int. And what will it do? It will just say A is equal to side void set side 2 int side. Again it will take a int argument, B equal to side. Similarly, set side 3 int side, C is equal to side. Okay. Plus we also require set perimeter. Okay, now this will not require any parameters. We just say perimeter is equal to A plus B plus C. Okay, void. Now set area. Now for this we are going to use a longish kind of formula, for which first we require half of the perimeter. So I'll say float P is equal to A plus B plus C divided by 2. Okay, and then I'll put the formula for the area. So area is equal to square root of P into P minus A into P minus B into P minus C. And remember, here we are using a function square root. So for that we require another header file to be included, that is math.h. Okay. So this is the setter functions. Now we say getter functions. Now what will these be? These will be int get side 1. Or do we really require it? As a normal practice we might include it, but in our problem statement it just says to calculate the perimeter and area. So we would be requiring only two getter functions, get perimeter, and what will this return? It will return the perimeter. Similarly, get area, return area. So these are the two getter functions. Do we really know which type of triangle it is going to take care of? No. So this we are not going to use directly in our main function. What we require is a class called equilateral, which will inherit from triangle, right? Now here, critical thing here is class equivalent is okay, but then we have a colon and public triangle. Now I'll come to public later, but this triangle, what this statement says is that the equilateral triangle will automatically inherit everything that is there in triangle, right? It will inherit everything that is there in triangle. Now, except of course that which is private, right? So if anything that is declared as private here in triangle will not be inherited, but anything that is public, or one more is there called protected, which we will come to later, that will be inherited. Okay, so let's continue. Now here what do I do? Again, this will not have any of its own data members. Why? Because the context is such that a triangle, as of our problem statement is concerned, requires only this much. So there is no additional thing specific to an equilateral triangle that is required. But yes, we require a constructor, right? And this constructor will take a argument, right? So it requires only one side, because in an equilateral triangle all the sides are same. So what we'll do is we will just call set side 1 and pass side to it. Similarly, set side 2 side, set side 3 side. Okay, so that completes our constructor for the equilateral triangle. Actually, after, beyond this we really don't require anything else. Okay, similarly we will create a isosceles triangle which will again inherit from triangle, and this will have its own constructor. So public isosceles, and this will take how many parameters? It will take side 1 and side 2, okay, and side 1 will be assumed to be the one which is applicable to two sides, and side 2 will be the one which will be applicable to the third side, third unequal side. Okay, so now in the implementation of this, what will we do? We will say set side 1 side 1, set side 2 side 1 again, whereas set side 3 we will make it take side 2. So that becomes our constructor for the isosceles triangle. Similarly, irregular public triangle. Just like before, what we can do is we can copy paste this. Edit, copy, come here and edit, paste. Right? So now what happens? I just have to add one more parameter, because here all the three sides will be unequal. So this will become 2 and this will become 3. Now that we have specified all the triangles, now let's write the main. Void main, and here first of all we will clear the screen, then we will say equilateral triangle 1 or try 1, and we will pass it a single parameter, right? And then isosceles try 2, and to this we will pass 3 and 4. Then we will say a regular try 3, and to this we will pass 3, 4 and 5. Right? Now we have created the objects. Now we need to display it. So we will say cout equilateral triangle. Yes. And let's say try 1 dot get side 1. This is a function. And then we will put a comma. And then try 1 dot get side 2. Okay, we don't really require get side 2. Why? Because it's an equilateral triangle. So we can just display 1. Now we need to add a end L. And now let's display the perimeter. Try 1 dot get perimeter end L. Cout now area. Try 1 dot get area end L and end L. Now let's copy paste this. Let's go to edit, copy, edit, paste, edit, paste. Now the only changes we have to make is equilateral isosceles and here we have to make it as 2. This will become 3 and this will become what? This will become irregular. Irregular triangle. Okay, now let's run this and see whether what errors it shows. Declaration terminated incorrectly. Okay, for side 2 also we have to say int. Declaration, okay, here also we have to say int and int. Now what is the problem? 62. Declaration terminated. Okay, let's keep going. Undefined symbol, the spelling mistake. Lateral. Okay. Could not find a match for irregular. Try 3. Okay, this should also be irregular. See, constructor name should be the same as class name. Okay, get side 1 is not a member of equilateral, isosceles and irregular. Okay, so get side 1, get side 1, get side 1. And in this case, just because I remember it, we need to also include comma tri1 dot get, no, not here, not here, here, comma try2 dot get side 2. That's all is required. Whereas in case of this one, we require not only side 2, side try 3 dot get side 2, but also try 3 dot get side 3. Okay, these are all function calls, so we have to make it as a function call. Okay, now let's run this. Okay, get side 1, side 2, side 3 are not member, is not a member of equilateral triangle. Okay, now what is the problem? That is what we have to figure out. Get side 1. Okay, let's take the first one, equilateral triangle, public triangle. Okay, into side, okay, side 1 it is being passed, 3 is being passed, so this becomes 3, set side 1, side 2, side 3, get side 1, okay, get side 1, oh, we have not included getters for the, okay, we have to add int get side 1, right? And what will be its implementation? Return side 1, no, A, return A. Similarly, int get side 2, return B. Int get side 3, return C. Right, now let's see. Okay, we have not included get ch. So get ch. Now let's run this. So here what's happening? Equilateral triangle is 3, perimeter 0, area. So perimeter and area are coming as 0. So that is not being calculated here. Yes. So there's nothing that we can do here. Here also in each individual type of triangle, nothing is being calculated. So the calculation is actually happening only in this one. So here you see we are saying get perimeter and it is returning the perimeter. Now calculation of perimeter is being done here. But from where are we calling this? Have we called this? We have not called it. So there are two ways of taking care of it. One is call for set perimeter so that it calculates and sets it, and then call the get. Or in here itself, in get perimeter itself, first call set perimeter. Okay, set area, and then you return it. Now let's see. Yes. So basically the idea is what? That you create a class which is generic, right? Here we are talking of equilateral triangle, isosceles triangle and irregular triangles, and basically looking at calculating the perimeter and area. If we don't use inheritance, what happens? in the equilateral triangle, we will end up with all the getters and setters, right, including get perimeter, get area, calculations, everything will be there in equilateral triangle. Same thing will also be there in isosceles triangle. Same thing would be there in irregular triangle also. Now, although this is a very simple this one, there might be some specific things that you can do with a irregular triangle, right? Similarly, there might be certain specific aspects of a isosceles triangle, something specific to only equilateral triangles. So, what happens is, one, that you end up doing a lot of repetition of code in each individual class. Second, there might be some specific things also with respect to each of these classes. Here itself, we have seen that equilateral triangle to be defined requires only one side, right? Similarly, for isosceles triangle, you require two lengths. Similarly, for irregular, you require all the three. So, there might be some specific things, plus there will be some generic things which is applicable to all three. So, by creating a class called triangle, what you are doing is common things you are specifying it in the triangle class. And from the triangle class, you are inheriting. So, what are the things that we are inheriting? So, when we say class equilateral public triangle, what is actually happening? Everything that is specified in triangle is being inherited. It is understood. See, the moment you look at this class only, the way you have to understand is that I have a class equilateral which contains this, plus it contains anything and everything that is there in triangle, except of course what is private, right? What is private, you can't access it. So, that is not being inherited. A, B, C, perimeter and area is not being inherited directly. That means you can't directly access A, B, C here. Okay, although you can manipulate it using the functions that is defined in the triangle itself. Okay, so that is one advantage. Second advantage is, by specifying a class called triangle, if tomorrow somebody else, some other programmer wants to add another type of triangle, say a right angle triangle if he wants to add, the minimum he has to do is what? Provide the appropriate constructor. And of course, there might be some functions which are specific to equilateral, some functions specific to isosceles, some functions specific to the irregular triangles. So, for such, say for example, if I say set perimeter is common to all, is specific to each one of them. That means each one of them have their own way of doing it. In that case, what do? I just leave it like this, right? Now, this becomes a function which does not have any definition. It is just a declaration. That means this get parameter definition has to be provided here in each of these classes, right? And this you would require only if the implementation or the definition or the method to calculate perimeter is different in each of these three classes. Okay. So, now here it is common to all of them. For example, let's say if you are talking of solids, in that what happens is calculating the volume of different types of solids is different. The formulas are different, right? So, to calculate that, since you require different formulas, what you will do is you will provide a declaration here, get volume or set volume, whatever. But its definition you will provide it in each of the individual types of solids. We have taken care of this. please go through this and try to add right angle triangle and see whether you can. Okay, so let's save this. Let's go to source and let's say triangle and let's overwrite. Okay. By the way, when I was explaining this, remember, we are publicly inheriting it, right? We are publicly inheriting the triangle. That means, what does that mean? It means that the functions that are defined in triangle can be called by a class which is using the irregular object, right? So that means the public members of triangle are accessible from outside as well. The other two options are private, right? So I can inherit it privately or I can inherit it protected. So we'll look at this private, public and protected ways of inheriting in a future session. Okay, let's save. We already saved it. Let's close and let's quit.